We're going to be talking with Blue Sky Uranium. It's doing advanced exploration work in the newest uranium and vanadium district in Argentina. We're going to be happy to be joined today by Nick Cacos, who's a frequent guest of ours, and he's going to be joined. He is president and CEO of Blue Sky. We're going to also be joined by Guillermo Pensadeo, who is VP of Exploration. Now, as for Nick, he brings over 30 years of executive level management experience within the mineral exploration industry. He's worked with the Grosso group since its inception, and he serves as a senior level executive for all of the member companies. His career includes administration, structuring, and strategic planning for public companies, and he currently serves as an officer and director for a number of TSX venture listed companies. As for Guillermo, he's a professional economic geologist with more than 25 years of expertise in the mineral exploration industry. It's had a particular focus on uranium. He has extensive exploration and economic project assessment experience in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Peru, USA, and Canada, not only focusing on uranium, but also precious metals and copper deposits. In the last decade, he's worked on the startup of new projects and companies. He's held positions from all the way from advisor to VP of exploration. Nick and Guillermo, I'm sorry, my pronunciation today is a little bit off. Guillermo, welcome to the Global Mining Symposium. How are you both doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for that great introduction. And if I may just say that given my only 10-minute time slot and the fact that I speak relatively slowly, I've cut Guillermo out. Guillermo won't be joining us. It'll just be me presenting here today. But Guillermo will be at the PDAC, so he'll be there to meet with investors if anybody wishes to get more technical.
Fantastic. All right, then, Nick. Well, listen, happy to pass it over to you, and I'll join you at the end of your presentation.
Sounds great. Thank you. So, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining Blue Sky Uranium's presentation. Blue Sky, obviously, as the name states, we are in the uranium exploration business, focused on advancing not just a single deposit discovery in Argentina, but the discovery of an entire new district, a district which has characteristics like some of the largest and lowest cost uranium districts on the planet today. And we have control of we own actually 100% of this district and have the potential to rival and be amongst those other giants. This is a disclaimer. I do encourage everybody to have a look, as there will be some forward-looking statements in this presentation. Also, a more fuller version of this presentation is available on our website for your individual perusal. So let's look at Blue Sky from a very high-level point of view. First of all, why should you be investing in Blue Sky? One, well, we're in the uranium market. As many of you are already quite aware, uranium has had a tremendous run. Just over the last 3 years, we've seen the price of uranium spot triple, and there's some good reasons for that, as we're seeing uranium and nuclear energy being accepted more and more worldwide as a safe, secure, and reliable carbon-free source of energy. We're seeing there's a real demand-driven process that's expanding, that's creating a demand for uranium. And also what we'll see, the fact that we're in Argentina, there probably is not a better country that we could have made a uranium discovery, because as we'll note, Argentina is indeed a very well-regarded uranium country, and setting us up, our company rather, for a very unique business opportunity there. The project itself, well, we have a deposit. We've identified just under 23 million pounds of uranium and 11.5 million pounds of vanadium, but it doesn't end there. The fact that this is a 145 kilometer length of project by 50 kilometer wide corridor represents an entire new district. And I think that's where the real opportunity for Blue Sky's development lies, essentially. Any company is not worth its salt just because they have a good asset. It's important, of course, to have a reputable and a management team that knows how to manage success, manage risks. And we're run by the Grosso Group Management Limited, Grosso Group are pioneers in Argentina, nearly 30 years of experience in that country. That's really important to be able to work effectively and understand the local cultures and customs. We have a big footprint in that country, extremely well regarded, and we have a lot of success in Argentina. We've made 4 major discoveries, including Guacamayo gold mine, which is still in production today, the Chinchillas silver lead zinc mine, which we took from discovery all the way up to development and into production in partnership with SSR Mining, and including Navidad, of course, the world's largest undeveloped silver project. 4th discovery here, of course, is the Amarillo Grande uranium vanadium discovery, and that's the discovery that we're talking about today. Some more specifics, who's on our team specifically. Our chairman, of course, Joe Grosso, president and founder of Grosso Group. Joe is gives the company an extremely competitive advantage from our peers. He's been inducted into Argentina's Mining Hall of Fame. He's been a Mining Man of the Year in Argentina, extremely well regarded and well respected at all levels of the provincial government, the federal government, and throughout the entire mining industry in that country. Guillermo, who has already been introduced, who's not here today, but Guillermo is a very special and important person in our organization. Besides being nearly 25 years in the mining industry and an exploration geologist, he has an invaluable experience in uranium, having been worked with companies like Cameco, and he too is an award-winning geologist. His peers actually just recently awarded him Exploration Geologist of the Year in Argentina. And the last person I'm going to bring your attention to is Mr. Chuck Edwards. Chuck was a chief metallurgist for Cameco, and he's an extremely well-regarded person. He's been doing all our metallurgical and process engineering work for our PEA, as we'll see later on in the presentation. Now, let's look at the uranium demand and supply situation. As this chart shows, the demand for uranium is currently outstripping supply. In fact, that's happened as of about 3 years ago. And again, driving that is an organic demand for nuclear energy, a carbon-free way and safe and stable way for generating electricity. Supply, of course, can't keep up. You can't just turn on a switch and be able to continue to provide supply. And that's creating and exacerbating the uranium market and causing the price to increase. We're also seeing uranium in current nuclear mines being extended in mine life, and we're also seeing financial players stepping into this relatively small dollar market and buying up uranium and holding it as an investment. So the interesting thing to note about uranium is that when the supply really starts to get short, the price of uranium can really take off like it did just about a decade ago when it hit over $140 a pound. The world, where does uranium come from? Well, about half of the world's uranium comes from Kazakhstan, and there's a good reason for that. Kazakhstan is a location where not just a lot of uranium occurs, but they're also able to extract it at an extremely low price. And that's something that we have comparables to as well. I'll show you a little later on. And how is uranium priced? Well, for those who are unaware, there's no commercial commodity market where you buy and sell uranium. Uranium is actually quite regulated, but it's usually a contract between a uranium mine and a nuclear utility. They strike a price, usually about 40%, 30 to 40% over the going spot price, and it could be for terms up to 15 years. Like I said in the beginning, Argentina is an excellent place to have a uranium discovery because Argentina is a nuclear country. Most investors don't realize that Argentina has been in a nuclear business since the early 50s, almost as long as the United States has, and they are extremely well regarded and have a very sophisticated and well-developed nuclear industry. They've got, besides having power plants in operation, they've got research reactors, particle accelerators, pilot enrichment plants, and so forth. The only thing that they don't have in Argentina is the production of uranium itself. They import all their need, and this is where it sets up a company like Blue Sky with currently, even in our current early stage, we have the largest and most advanced deposit in Argentina to make Argentina our first customer and then be in a position to export after that. And now just a very brief overview of our Amarillo Grande project. Here's a slide depicting the property outline. It's a very, very large package of property that we own in Argentina, over 300,000 hectares. It represents really a corridor of about 50 kilometers wide by 145 kilometers long. And we've owned this package now for, I guess, over the past 15 years or so. And we've been working on it superficially. At times when the uranium price was sub $20, we actually did slow down our exploration, but it was really has been in the last few years that we've intensified and accelerated our exploration efforts. It was in 2017 that we made the initial deposit discovery called the Ivana, which is on the southern southeastern portion of this map. Then within a year, we quickly published our initial resource estimate, and then within the following year, we published a PEA and an updated resource. The project Amarillo Grande is situated in a Patagonian province of Argentina called Rio Negro. Rio Negro is a very strong nuclear jurisdiction. Actually, the province owns what we call here a crown corporation that does nuclear research and manufactures small modular reactors and is involved very heavily in the nuclear industry. There's a local university which trains geologists in the uranium field, and also in this province is also very resource friendly, as there is a bustling oil and gas industry, and because of that, there's lots of great power, water, rail and road network and other infrastructure in the air, despite the arid and sparsely populated image as shown in the image down below. Now, like I said, Kazakhstan was, of course, the world's leader in producing the most amount of uranium because they have a very low-cost nature of extracting it. In fact, it has to do with the way that it's deposited. The groundwaters basically carry uranium and deposit it when it hits a redox front. And these deposits can be very large, like the Inkai mine, for example, in Kazakhstan, is recorded to be up to over 240 million pounds of uranium with a grade of 0.03% U3O8. By the way, the grade's very much in line with the kind of grades that we're getting. And we're seeing the same kind of thing. We're seeing groundwaters rich in uranium having deposited into this basin that we've staked and now we have Amarillo Grande. So while Kazakhstan has had the benefit of 50 years of exploration to identify all these deposits, we're just getting started here, and I think we're very quickly going to be able to increase the number of deposits that we're currently have here. The mineral resource statement, like I said at the outset, just under 23 million pounds of uranium, 11.5 million pounds of vanadium, our grade 0.037%. And when we did a PEA very early, because we really wanted to get a handle on our basically the competitiveness of the project. And what we found was that to put something like this into production would cost about $100 million with just $28 million contingency. And to extract a single pound of uranium, just over $16 a pound. Very, very competitive, very low cost. In fact, even when we did this, when the uranium price was around $20 a pound, back then, even then it could be making money. So this is a great metric to have at a very early stage of any project. And when we compare with other projects around the world, we take the PEA numbers in the red bar and we plot them, we see that if it was in production, to even Ivana, it would rank amongst the lowest cost in the first quartile, the lowest cost producers around the world. So now that we know we have economically a potentially viable project, we're at the stage, can we find additional deposits? And that's the stage that the company is at right now. We've, over the last 15 years, we've explored and identified a number of very prospective targets. Of course, we understand the genetic model that gives rise to deposits much better now that we've identified and discovered Ivana. And we're undertaking a drill program, and we're drilling the targets basically that are surrounding the Ivana deposit, specifically within a radius of about 30 kilometers. The idea being, of course, is if we discover additional deposits, we would be able to run a hub and spoke type of production facility. And currently we're drilling on target number 2, that's labeled on this map, the Ivana Central. This we believe is one of our best targets to date. And as the drilling continues over the course of the next month, and with the results continuing to come in, We feel fairly confident, you know, as if results come in as we hope they'll come in, I think the company could be at a real inflection point in terms of adding significant value to our market cap. So just wrapping up, Argentina, Blue Sky, we've got a really easy access to our project. We've got excellent infrastructure in place. The potential here, basically comparable to some of the biggest producing districts in the world, like we see in Kazakhstan. It actually has, you know, has the potential to rank also along with some of the lowest costs. With a PEA, we've established potential viability, and I think we're right now this is really the upside for this project. It's a very exciting project, unlike any of our other peers that we see out there. Tony?
Yeah, no doubt, Nick. It's been great to see the progress, and it's really nice to see the wins at your back now with the uranium market, and I think public perception as well. I mean, for me, I think there's been a real turning point. It's a shame that such a horrible thing like a war in the Ukraine highlighted the untenability of a position like Germany's. So Germany's really in a corner because they had an emotional reaction after Fukushima. And they went all crazy and, oh, no more nuclear reactors, which was just a ridiculously unfounded, non-rational decision. And where has that left them? Where has that left them in this situation, right?
It's left them
woke up a lot of people that let's not be absurd, right?
Yeah, for sure. And even countries actually that are already in the nuclear business, it's caused them to rethink from a geopolitical risk point of view, where are we getting our uranium from? Because if it's coming from Kazakhstan, which is supplies, like, you know, like I showed, almost half of the world's uranium, we saw there not just its proximity to Russia, but also within its own problems there, that there's potential, you know, there's potential for a significant disruption in that kind of a supply as well.
Yeah, and the fact that you're bringing on something when that lower quartile, yeah, those margins seem very, very, very protected. It's just not going to be possible, I think, in this stage in the game. Hopefully there's a maturation going on that people realize if we're serious about no carbon, then you know what? There's nothing perfect in the entire world. There's nothing perfect, right? And you need base load. And if you want no carbon, guess what? You got nuclear. So,
exactly.
I mean, you and I understand that, but I think the world is starting to wake up to that. And must feel good for you to be heading in with these kind of projects in such a district as this. I think that we're going to see a lot of great stuff coming out of there. Listen, push down a little bit. We are up against the clock, but around the pre-feasibility, just so we're really clear. So pre-feasibility, again, timeline on that. And then once that's completed, give us those next steps.
Well, I think we've got our exploration drilling wrapping up sometime, you know, later by the summer. And then we're looking to get into pre-feasibility by early fall. And then which will take about a year. At the end of that, I think we're at a production decision point. And then after that, you know, we decide how we partner up with a major producer and begin to take the project forward to production.
Any early stage conversations with majors at this point, or is that for later in the day?
We're showing the project, but I don't want to necessarily get married with anybody just yet. I think there's a lot of value that with the relatively low cost that we can uncover here at Blue Sky at the Amarillo Grande. I think we want to do that first before we make any of those other first steps.
Excellent, Nick. Exciting one to watch. And yeah, I think you're heading into a super cycle here. It's going to be a strong market for many years to come. So good for you guys. Continued success this year, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Nick. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.